Welcome to Stories for Sleep. Welcome to Stories for Sleep, a place where stories are told slowly and gently so that the mind can rest before the body drifts into sleep. If you are here, perhaps a long day has just come to an end. Thoughts are still hovering, images refuse to settle, and sleep, though very near, has not quite arrived yet. This video was created for precisely that moment. At Stories for Sleep, we do not tell stories so that you have to remember or think more. We tell them so that you can let go. Tonight, our theme is the most fascinating truths about outer space, but told in a relaxed, unhurried way, like waves of light drifting through consciousness. Space here is not something distant or cold. When seen through a quieter lens, it becomes a symbol of vastness, of a slower rhythm of time, a place where the ego can grow smaller and be allowed to rest. You do not need to understand everything you are about to hear. You do not need to try to follow until the end. Simply lie still, let your shoulders relax, soften your jaw and ease your breath, and allow the universe to do the rest. Each star, each darkness, each slow movement out there helps the movements within you grow gentler. If you enjoy content that helps you fall asleep, stories that explore the mind, the universe, and stillness, consider subscribing to Stories for Sleep and turning on notifications. This way you will always have a place to return to each night when the world needs to slow down. And now, when you are ready, we begin our gentle journey through space. When night falls perhaps the most. The difficult thing is not the darkness outside, but the constant movement within the mind. After a long day, thoughts continue to spin, memories follow one another, and worries softly knock at the door of awareness, making sleep feel like a luxury. We close our eyes, yet inside there is still too much light, unanswered questions, emotions that have not yet settled. And in that moment we often forget something essential: we do not need to control everything in order to rest. Outer space, vast, quiet, and unhurried, offers another way to loosen our grip. When attention turns toward the night sky, the mind begins to stop folding in on personal concerns. From a Jungian perspective, the universe is not merely a collection of stars and empty spaces. It is also a powerful symbol of the collective unconscious, a realm where everything exists side by side, without urgency, without judgment, without the demand to be understood immediately. In the face of such immensity, the small ego softens, and the pressure to think everything through dissolves. This video was created for that delicate moment before sleep, not to teach astronomical facts, not to demonstrate scientific knowledge. The truths about space here are whispered gently, that the universe is slowly expanding, that light from a distant galaxy has traveled for billions of years just to reach the human eye, that we ourselves, in a very literal sense, are made from the ashes of stars that died long ago. When listening to these ideas, the mind does not need to analyze. It only needs to feel the vastness, the patience, the very different rhythm of time. The value of this journey lies not in knowing more, but in feeling lighter. When consciousness is placed beside the universe, personal worries suddenly feel smaller and safer. You do not need to solve your life right now. You only need to be here to listen and to allow the outer space to gently expand the inner space within you. If you allow yourself to stay, the next parts will guide you deeper into the gentle mysteries of the cosmos, where stars are born and fade, where time flows differently, and where silence is not frightening. A journey not meant to conquer but to rest. Part 1. Introduction. Drifting into vastness beneath the road. Night sky, when daylight has withdrawn and the outer world has grown quieter, human beings enter a very special moment, the space between waking and sleeping. The body, tired, searches for a place to let go, while the mind still lingers in unfinished thoughts, in emotions not yet named. Part 1. Drifting into vastness was created for exactly this fragile moment. It does not begin with information or knowledge, but with a very soft greeting, as if someone were whispering to you, "You do not need to try anymore. This greeting is not meant to awaken but to soothe. It invites the listener back to the most basic things, the body and the breath. In daily life, we live mostly in our heads, in plans, worries, predictions. But when night arrives, the body needs reassurance that it is safe. When the breath is noticed, when the shoulders soften, when the jaw releases, a deep signal is sent to the unconscious. Now it is allowed to rest. From Jung's perspective, moments like this open a doorway for dialogue between consciousness and the unconscious, not through words, but through sensation. Tonight's journey is introduced as a meeting of gentleness and vastness. These two qualities, though seemingly opposite, naturally support one another. Gentleness comes from the slow rhythm of narration, the steady voice, the absence of demands. Vastness comes from the setting, the universe. Immense space, deep darkness where stars are born and fade in silence. When these meet, something subtle happens in the mind. The ego, accustomed to measuring, comparing, controlling, begins to shrink. Before the immensity of the cosmos, personal tensions feel less urgent, lighter, easier to release. A key message of this opening is simple: there is nothing to remember. This is not a lesson. It is certainly not a test. In daytime life, we are constantly required to understand, remember, and respond. At night, the unconscious needs a completely different space, one where it is allowed to drift. The image of the universe washing away thoughts is not accidental. It touches a deep psychological longing to be cleansed, to set down what we have carried all day. Like water erasing footprints in sand, vast space allows sharp thoughts to blur, dissolve, and eventually disappear. According to Jung, the collective unconscious is filled with archetypal images, and the night sky with its stars, darkness, and infinity is one of humanity's most powerful archetypes. When people gaze at the sky or imagine the universe, they are not only receiving astronomical information, they are touching an ancient symbol that transcends the personal ego. Drifting here is not escape, but a return to a rhythm larger than individual life. This opening also quietly establishes the slow, safe, sleep-inducing rhythm of the entire journey. The pace does not accelerate. There is no climax, no stimulation. It resembles the steady rotation of a planet, or the very slow expansion of space itself. Gentle repetition and intentional pauses help the nervous system shift from alertness into relaxation. For the unconscious, safety does not come from promises, but from predictable rhythm. As the listener becomes familiar with this rhythm, something important happens. They stop trying to listen all the way through, and that is the goal. Sleep is not achieved through effort, but through permission. This opening acts as a rite of passage from day to night, from control to release, from consciousness to the unconscious. Within the suggested vastness of the universe, the listener is invited to become very small, and this is not frightening. On the contrary, it is deeply comforting. When we are no longer the center of every problem, we can rest. When we no longer have to hold everything in mind, we can sink. Drifting into vastness is not disappearance. It is being supported by a space large enough that we no longer need to strain. From this foundation, the journey truly begins. No urgency, no force, just a slow current where each listener may stop at any moment, and falling asleep at any point is welcome. As the listener begins to drift into that vastness, a subtle, yet very real, change occurs. Thoughts that once lined up demanding attention, tomorrow's tasks, unfinished conversations, unresolved feelings, gradually lose their priority. Not because they are solved, but because they no longer need to be solved right now. The unconscious understands what consciousness often forgets. Not every question needs an answer before sleep. Carl Jung once suggested that what exhausts us is not darkness, but the attempt to illuminate every corner of it. Night is the natural domain of the unconscious, and the universe with its immense emptiness mirrors this inner depth perfectly. When the mind is allowed to merge with vastness, the silent struggle with oneself ceases. There is no need to stay awake, no need to understand everything, no fear of letting go. The immensity of space carries a gentle message. Everything has its own rhythm. Stars are not rushed into being, nor do they hurry to die. Galaxies do not panic when they collide. They merge over billions of years. Against this rhythm, the pressures of modern life feel out of place. The mind, accustomed to constant acceleration, slowly relearns an ancient movement, slowing down without guilt. This opening, then, is not merely an introduction but a phase transition, from having to pay attention to being supported, from a world that demands response to a world where not responding is safe. As the slow rhythm is maintained, the unconscious begins to sense that no danger is approaching. The nervous system relaxes. The body responds, heavy eyelids, warmth in the chest, a gentle sinking sensation. At a deeper level, drifting is also an act of trust. Trust that the world continues to function even when we are not watching. Trust that consciousness can rest without losing the self. Trust that darkness contains not only uncertainty, but restoration. For Jung, sleep is not emptiness, but a necessary psychological process where the ego withdraws to make room for quiet healing forces. For this reason, this section does not urge the listener onward. It allows them to stop right here. Falling asleep midway is not missing out, it is success. Because the goal was never to complete the journey, but to let the journey complete its task, returning the mind to a state that is safe, open, and calm enough to let go. And once that foundation is laid, when the listener no longer needs to listen correctly, the next parts can arrive like very distant waves. They may be heard, they may be missed, they may dissolve into sleep. The universe continues regardless of whether consciousness follows it. And strangely, that brings deep peace. If you are still here, remember you do not need to stay awake any longer. Let vastness do its work. The universe is not in a hurry, and tonight, neither are you. Part 2. A restless universe expansion and time when humans first looked up at the night sky. They often imagined the universe as a motionless backdrop, fixed stars repeating constellations, an eternal and unchanging order. But the deeper science goes, the more it reveals a very different and very gentle truth. The universe is not still. It is moving, expanding, drifting slowly but without pause. Part 2. A restless universe expansion and time invites the listener into this awareness, not to overwhelm, but to soften the feeling of having to stay perfectly in place in life. Space in its deepest sense is not a box containing galaxies. It is a living entity that expands itself, carrying everything within it. Galaxies are not actively fleeing one another. The space between them is stretching like fabric, being pulled very slowly. When told in a sleep-friendly rhythm, this image carries deep psychological meaning. It reminds us that distance sometimes arises not from intention, but from subtle changes in context, and that this is not hostile, merely part of a larger process. From a Jungian perspective, this expansion can be felt as a symbol of inner psychological growth. As we mature, we also expand away from what once felt familiar, old relationships, old roles, old versions of ourselves. Not because we want to leave, but because our inner space has changed. Understanding this can ease the weight of loss and distance in personal life. They are not always mistakes. Sometimes they are signs of expansion. Another idea in this section is both scientific and poetic. There are regions of light that will never reach Earth. Not because the light is weak, but because the universe expands too quickly. These galaxies exist, they shine, yet remain forever beyond our reach. Heard at night, this idea may touch a very soft sadness, not painful but accepting. Not everything is meant to be seen. Not every story is meant to reach consciousness. Jung emphasized that a healthy psyche is not one that knows everything, but one that accepts the limits of the ego. The universe, with its unreachable light, becomes a quiet teacher of humility. Hearing about these distances, the unconscious may sigh with relief. It does not need to reach everything. And in that release, sleep comes more easily. Looking far into space also means looking billions of years into the past. Light from a distant galaxy does not show us its present, but an image from when the universe was young. This carries a strange comfort. It reminds us that our present, however heavy, will one day become past a fixed image no longer painful. When the mind receives this idea in a relaxed state, it may loosen its grip on the immediacy of now. At a deeper level, this mirrors the way the unconscious works. Old memories and emotions continue to shine within us long after the original events have ended. Jung described this as the operation of the personal and collective unconscious, where time does not follow the linear logic of consciousness. Learning that time is not absolute in the universe often resonates deeply inside us too. Some old sorrows remain present, and some distant joys still warm us. Finally, this section offers a foundational insight. Time and space are inseparable. There is no single universal clock, just as there is no single correct rhythm for all people. Each position, movement, and circumstance carries its own stream of time. From a Jungian lens, this frees us from harmful comparison. We do not need to live at another person's pace. We only need to live in accordance with our own psychological position. Told in a slow, even voice, these ideas do not stimulate the mind. They calm it. There is no need to understand everything. No need to remember formulas or terms. Simply allow the feeling of a very slowly expanding universe to sink inward. And in that slow expansion, the mind also learns to expand, moving away from tension, drifting towards sleep like a small galaxy carried by the space around it. When we linger longer with the idea of cosmic expansion, a particular feeling emerges. Nothing is truly left behind. Even as galaxies move apart, even as distances grow, they still exist within a shared structure. Space does not tear, it opens. This differs from how humans often experience distance as loss or rupture. The universe offers another image. Separation is not necessarily destruction, but coexistence within a larger space. From a depth psychological view, this is a gentle lesson for the unconscious. There are relationships, phases, and old selves that are no longer close, but they have not vanished. They simply occupy a different distance in psychological space. When this idea is allowed to settle, persistent longing may soften. There is no need to pull the past back or chase the future. It is enough to rest here where your own timeline is flowing. The idea of unreachable light also opens a deeper emotional layer. Within inner life, everyone carries unseen potentials, lives unlived paths not taken, versions of oneself that never emerged. Consciousness often grieves these, but the unconscious, when comforted, understands not every possibility must be realized to be meaningful. Some exist like distant light, reminding us that both the world and the self are larger than what is currently lived. Jung called this reconciliation with the unlived life, and such reconciliation is essential for rest. When we stop blaming ourselves for what did not happen, sleep becomes lighter and deeper. The universe, with its unreachable horizons, quietly teaches us how to set healthy inner boundaries. Looking billions of years into the past also softens our sense of urgency. A long day, a difficult year, even a painful chapter loses its feeling of permanence when placed beside cosmic time. Not to deny pain, but to remind us that pain too has its place within a larger picture. Before sleep, the unconscious is especially receptive to images that stretch time in this way. When time no longer feels like pressure, the nervous system can exit survival mode. The heart slows, the breath deepens. The body begins to trust that it no longer needs to react. The non-absoluteness of time and space also brings quiet relief. If there is no universal standard, then feeling tired, slowing down, or needing rest is not a failure. It is simply alignment with your current position in your own living space. For Jung, healing does not come from becoming like others, but from living in accordance with one's own psychological structure. This section, therefore, does not seek to amaze. It seeks to reassure. to reassure that the universe does not demand perfection, that distance, limits, and passing are all parts of a greater order. And when that order is felt, not understood, the mind can let go. If words begin to blur, if meaning thins out, this is not falling behind. It is the unconscious receiving things in the right way. Sleep does not need clarity. It needs the right feeling. And the feeling left here is simple. Everything is moving at the right pace, and you do not need to hold on to anything. The universe continues to expand. Time continues to flow. And right now you can allow yourself to flow with it slowly, safely, without needing to know where you are going. Part 3. The life and death of stars. When people think of stars, they often imagine them as eternal points of light, hanging motionless in the night sky, unchanging and distant. But Part 3, the life and death of stars, gently opens another. Truth, stars too have lives. They are born, they grow, they age, and they end mirroring the deep rhythm of human existence itself. The only difference is that this rhythm unfolds on a timescale so vast that to us it appears perfectly still. Massive stars live briefly but die violently. They are born with enormous mass, burning through their fuel quickly as if aware that their time is limited. In their final years, they swell, blaze intensely, and then collapse in a supernova explosion. Science describes this as one of the most energetic events in the universe. Yet when told slowly within the quiet of night, this death does not feel terrifyingly destructive. It becomes a moment of transformation, intense yet necessary. From the perspective of Carl Jung, death is not merely an ending, but a powerful symbol of psychological transformation. Within inner life, there are phases that burn brightly and quickly, passionate dreams, deep relationships, periods of living intensely. They may end suddenly, leaving behind feelings of loss or emptiness. But like the death of a massive star, such endings are not meaningless. They release energy and material essential for the next structures of life to form. A supernova scatters heavy elements throughout space. Elements such as carbon, oxygen, and iron, the very materials that make planets, oceans, and even the blood within the human body, are created in these explosive moments. When this idea is received in a relaxed state, it carries deep comfort. It tells us that from disintegration, new life can emerge. Not everything beautiful comes from gentle processes. Some arise from unavoidable upheavals and profound breaks. Jung understood this deeply. That is why in dreams, images of death often signal not an ending but a transition. As listeners allow the image of star ash to settle within them, they may unconsciously relate it to their own lives. Old wounds, past pains, parts of the self that were once burned. Perhaps from those very moments, new capacities have already begun or are still beginning to form. Planets, oceans, and the human body itself are born from star ash. This is not only a scientific fact, but a deeply symbolic story. It dissolves the boundary between humanity and the universe. We are not standing outside looking up at the sky. We are part of the same narrative. Before sleep, this idea can gently soothe loneliness. If we are formed from ancient cosmic processes, then our existence is neither random nor out of place. Jung called this feeling a connection with the collective unconscious, where archetypal images of birth and death cycles and renewal always reside. When listeners sense that their bodies carry the history of stars, the personal ego so prone to worry and comparison can step back. In its place arises a feeling of belonging to something larger, slower, and infinitely more patient. The cycle of stellar birth and death unfolds slowly, yet without pause. There is no urgency in the universe. A star may take millions of years to form, billions of years to live, and only a brief moment to end. Yet that moment is enough to seed countless new structures. When we hear this rhythm, the human mind, accustomed to schedules and expectations, can begin to loosen. We do not need to finish everything right now. We do not need to be complete before resting. In a sleep-ready state, this cyclical image has a powerful regulating effect. It reminds us that every state has its place: birth, growth, decline, and transformation. No phase is wrong. No stage is wasted. Even fatigue belongs to the cycle, a signal that it is time to pause. This part, therefore, speaks of death not to frighten, but to soften fear. When death is placed within a greater cycle, it loses its personal threat. It becomes a natural movement, like day turning into night. And as fear loosens, the body can allow itself to sink more deeply into sleep. If the images of stars begin to blur and dissolve into darkness, that is a good sign. The unconscious is working in its own way. You do not need to hold on to every word. Simply allow the feeling that you are part of a very ancient, very vast, and very patient cycle to carry you gently towards sleep. As the idea of stellar birth and death sinks deeper, a subtle shift occurs in how we feel about our own lives. What once felt frightening endings, aging irreversible change, begins to lose its sharpness. In the universe, no ending happens in isolation. Every star's death is held within a greater context, where it is not judged as failure, but as a necessary transition within the whole structure. Carl Jung believed that humanity's deepest fear is not death itself, but meaninglessness. And the story of the stars answers that fear quietly. A star does not exist solely to shine. It exists so that at some moment it may release what it has gathered, allowing new forms to emerge. When the unconscious absorbs this image, it begins to reinterpret personal suffering. Perhaps difficult phases were not dead ends, but silent accumulations for something not yet visible. The idea that we are made of star ash is profoundly healing. It dissolves the sense of being a separate, isolated individual cast into the world. Instead, it places us within a continuous stream of life stretching billions of years. From a Jungian view, this is the moment when the personal ego partially merges with the collective unconscious, where we are no longer the center, yet no longer alone. Before sleep, this merging has a tangible effect. The ego, which has stood guard all day, is finally allowed to rest. It no longer needs to control the narrative. It no longer needs to prove anything. The body responds naturally, breathing deepens, movements slow, and a gentle heaviness spreads through the limbs. The stellar cycle also offers a quiet lesson about pace. In the universe, there is no rush, no too late. No, not yet. A star is not judged for living too briefly or too long. It simply lives according to its structure. When this settles, in comparison, a major source of inattention can dissolve. We do not need to live at another's pace. We only need to live at our own. And tonight, that pace is rest. This extended reflection also prepares the mind for the journey ahead. Once birth and death are accepted as cycles, subjects like black holes, time, or infinity no longer feel threatening. Fear arises when the ego feels endangered. But when the ego is held within a larger context, it no longer needs to defend itself. If at this point listeners cannot remember exactly where they are in the story, that is not distraction, it is transition. The unconscious has begun to receive the story in its own way, not through logic but through sensation. And the sensation planted here is simple: everything has its place, including you, including this tiredness. Stars continue to be born and to die in silence. No audience, no witnesses. And you too do not need to do sleep correctly. You only need to allow yourself to become a very small part of a very large cycle, and let sleep arrive when it is ready. Part 4. Strange worlds in the planetary system. When we think about the solar system, the mind often forms a familiar picture. The sun at the center, planets moving in orderly paths around it, predictable, stable. But Part 4, Strange Worlds in the Planetary System, gently dismantles that familiar image, not to unsettle the listener, but to open a deeply Jungian feeling. Reality is always broader than what the ego calls normal. There are planets without a sun. They do not orbit any star, but wander through perpetual darkness, drifting between star systems like solitary nomads. Science calls them rogue planets, yet when described in a sleep-like rhythm, they lose their threat. They become symbols of parts of ourselves that once lived outside the light of attention. Unnamed emotions, unacknowledged life phases, stretches of darkness endured alone. From Jung's perspective, these wandering planets resemble unconscious contents, unoriented around conscious awareness, yet still alive, still carrying energy. There are worlds where rain does not fall as water, but as diamonds, as glass, as unfamiliar matter. There are oceans not of water, but of liquid methane, cold and silent. At night, the mind need not understand the physics behind these images. What matters is the feeling they plant existence and structure are not confined to familiar forms. This touches a deep layer of the unconscious, where we often limit ourselves with old beliefs there is only one right way, only one safe path. The universe whispers otherwise. There are countless ways to exist and none are wrong. Venus, Mars and Jupiter vividly embody this extreme diversity. Venus, with its thick atmosphere and runaway greenhouse effect, reflects a world that may once have resembled Earth but diverged sharply. Mars, cold and barren, holds traces of lost oceans. Jupiter, vast and chaotic, with storms lasting centuries, reminds us that size and power do not guarantee stability. When these planets are told not as data but as personalities of the universe, listeners may unconsciously recognize themselves. We carry many inner planets, each with its own climate, rhythm and needs. Jung believed that psychological health does not come from uniformity, but from accepting inner diversity. The solar system, seemingly simple, is in fact complex like a human being. Some parts of us live near the center in the clear light of awareness. Others remain distant, cold or turbulent, yet all belong to the same system. When this is received in a relaxed state, self-judgment can soften. Not every part of us needs fixing. Some only need recognition. The solar system is familiar, yet not simple. Spoken slowly, this becomes deeply comforting. Our lives, though outwardly repetitive, contain countless layers beneath. Feeling tired, confused, or difficult to understand is not failure. It reflects the richness of the system we inhabit, both outer and inner. Before sleep, images of strange worlds do not stimulate curiosity. They soothe it. They allow the ego to realize it does not need to control or understand everything. The universe functions perfectly well without our grasp of its logic. Likewise, the body and mind can rest even with unanswered questions. If images now drift like faint dreams, a dark planet, diamond rain, an alien ocean, this is exactly the state this part seeks to create. Not for memory, but for release. As familiarity recedes, sleep finds more room to arrive gently and unobstructed. As we continue listening, something subtle becomes clear. The universe does not try to be easily understood. It does not arrange itself around the ego's need for order, and this paradoxically brings comfort. Jung warned that modern anxiety stems not from danger but from believing reality must conform to conscious order. The solar system, its rogue planets, diamond rains, methane seas, teaches the opposite order does not have to look familiar. Some planets tilt so strangely that seasons last decades. Some worlds have days and nights that no longer resemble ours. Some skies are permanently dim sunlight, only a distant memory. Hearing this before sleep loosens the need to be on time in rhythm, doing it right. If time and light can flow differently out there, then tonight you may flow differently too, slower, softer, without effort. Through a Jungian lens, each strange planet becomes an archetype of a psychological state. Venus mirrors suppressed intensity, energy turned inward until it overheats. Mars reflects memories of vitality withdrawn, leaving a dry but storied surface. Jupiter symbolizes magnified power, where everything exceeds control. None are bad, only different modes of existence. In a half-waking, half-dreaming state, the unconscious links outer cosmos with inner cosmos. Personal concerns, work relationships, duties shrink not because they vanish, but because the frame has widened. Jung called this healthy depersonalization. The ego steps aside. so a deeper order can emerge. The solar system is familiar yet complex, just like you. Some parts of you were once clear and are now dim. Some were never named yet still shape how you feel. And like those strange planets, they do not need fixing tonight. This night is not for analysis but for allowing existence. As the rhythm slows, the images blur into soft points of light behind closed eyelids. There is no need to remember anything. The universe continues, whether noticed or not. Planets keep turning whether you are awake or asleep. And so your breath continues. Your heart keeps beating, your body knows how to rest without instruction. If thoughts begin to scatter, that is not losing focus, it is moving in the right direction. Like a ship leaving bright shores for deep waters, your mind is drifting from the familiar. The strange worlds have done their work, opening enough space for sleep to enter gently. And when you stop trying to understand the universe does what it has always done, it holds you in silence. Part 5. Black holes and what is dark but never silent. When black holes are mentioned, most people immediately imagine absolute destruction, a region of darkness that devours everything, where no light escapes and no return is possible. But Part 5, Black Holes and What is Dark but Never Silent, as told here, is not meant to awaken fear, but to soften it. In the slow rhythm of night, black holes appear as a profound symbol of inner life, where the darkest places are not empty, but often hold the most powerful energy. Black holes do not only consume. Before matter falls inward, it spirals, heats up, and shines intensely within vast accretion disks. It is this luminous region, not the black hole itself, that can outshine an entire galaxy. In science, this is a familiar paradox. In Carl Jung's depth psychology, it is an archetypal image. Light is often born at the edge of darkness. Humanity's most creative, transformative, or awakening moments frequently emerge close to periods of hardship, crisis, or loss. The blazing disk of matter around a black hole resembles powerful emotions circling a central wound. We do not always look directly into that dark core. It is too heavy, too deep. But what orbits it? Anxiety, longing, creativity, anger, love becomes vividly alive. Jung believed the unconscious is not empty space, but a reservoir of immense psychological energy. In this, telling the black hole becomes a perfect image of that truth. There are moments in life when an inner star is torn apart in an instant, a sudden event, a separation, an unexpected truth. Like a star that wanders too close to a black hole, the gravitational force stretches it, shreds it, and turns it into a stream of incandescent matter. Science calls this a tidal disruption event. Psychology calls it crisis. Yet both share something essential: they do not happen quietly. They are filled with movement, energy, and the possibility of deep restructuring. In the rhythm of a bedtime story, this image is not meant to reopen pain, but to soften it. If something within you was once torn apart, hearing that the universe too contains such moments can bring a sense of companionship. You are not alone in extreme experiences. They are not personal failures, but part of larger forces that have existed for a very long time, far before human life began. The darkness of a black hole is never silent. It is full of motion, attraction, and influence. Jung believed the human shadow is the same. It is not merely what is rejected, but energy that has not yet been made conscious. Ignored, it produces anxiety. Acknowledged safely, it becomes creativity, strength, and depth. Hearing about black holes in a relaxed state allows the unconscious to receive this message without confrontation. Within the lull of sleep, the black hole no longer feels threatening. It becomes a deep, quiet center where all motion eventually slows. Though matter whirls violently outside the core, imagine this way rests in absolute stillness. This image powerfully soothes a tired nervous system. Beneath every disturbance, there is a deeper layer of calm. As images of black holes begin to fade into the darkness behind closed eyelids, a transition is underway. Consciousness stops grasping, analyzing, defending. It allows itself to drift toward the center, when no further thinking is required. Sleep, like the gentlest gravity, begins to draw you in. Not hurriedly, not forcefully, but with quiet certainty. And like a black hole, you do not need to emit light in order to exist. You may rest within your own darkness, knowing it is not empty, it is holding you quietly and deeply. When we stay a little longer with the image of the black hole, our sense of darkness begins to shift. Darkness no longer feels like a frightening void to be filled, but a containing space. In the universe, a black hole is not an empty hole. It is matter compressed to its densest form, so concentrated that nothing can pass through. In depth psychology, this closely resembles the deep unconscious, where experiences, memories, and emotions are compressed, not erased, simply unseen. Carl Jung once wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." At night, this sentence need not be analyzed, only felt. A black hole does not ask us to peer inside. It only asks us to acknowledge its existence and to trust that its presence does not destroy order, but completes it. Jets of energy sometimes erupt from regions around black holes, stretching thousands of light years. They resemble the long-lasting effects of deep psychological experiences. An event long past may still shape how we love, fear, and respond, not because we are weak, but because its energy was immense. Hearing this in the safety of night helps release self-blame for not letting go. Some things cannot be released by will. They settle only after fulfilling their purpose. Black holes also teach us about boundaries. There is a point beyond which light cannot return the event horizon. Not because light is too slow, but because space itself no longer allows it. Inner life has similar boundaries, moments we cannot revisit, questions without answers. Accepting these limits is not surrender, but psychological maturity. Jung believed maturity begins when we stop trying to cross every boundary and learn to live in harmony with them. Before sleep, hearing about natural limits helps the nervous system relax. You do not need to resolve everything tonight. Some things can wait or be handed over to the unconscious. The black hole, in its deep silence, reminds us that doing nothing can also be a valid act. There is a gentle paradox here. Black holes, symbols of darkness, help galaxies take shape, help matter gather, help cosmic order persist. Likewise, the darker parts of ourselves, fear, sorrow, uncertainty, do not necessarily weaken us. When acknowledged and placed properly, they deepen empathy, connection, and meaning. Jung called this the process of reconciling with the shadow. If at this moment the boundary between cosmic story and bodily sensation begins to blur, that is a good sign. Consciousness is retreating, making space for deeper layers. Breath steadies, thoughts thin out. The black hole is no longer out there, but becomes an inner state, where light is unnecessary movement, unnecessary only stillness remains. And in that stillness, sleep is no longer something to achieve. It simply happens like matter settling into the deepest orbit of gravity. No force, no resistance, only a natural return into the safe darkness of night. Part 6. Galaxies, the cities of the universe, beneath a pre-H. The night sky, where the naked eye sees only a few thousand scattered points of light, the universe hides a far richer, more intricate structure. Galaxies seen from afar are like vast cities of the cosmos, where hundreds of billions of stars coexist, move, age, and fade within a slow order stretching across billions of years. There is no rush, no clear beginning or end, only long cycles long enough to soften every sense of urgency carried into sleep. No galaxy is born alone. They form from primordial clouds of gas, gradually gathering under gravity, much like scattered thoughts in the human mind are gathered by the unconscious into form. Over time, galaxies drift, meet, collide, spiral together, and merge. These collisions are not instant catastrophes, but slow dances, lasting hundreds of millions of years. Stars rarely collide. Instead, their orbits stretch, bend, and reorganize. New order emerges from old disturbance. Carl Jung saw in such long, unconscious processes something deeply familiar to human psychology. He wrote, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder, a secret order." Galaxies collide and merge, not because they are lost, but because this is how the universe grows. Human beings are the same. Periods of overlap, contradiction, or pain in inner life often signal deep restructuring underway. The Milky Way itself is not pure or pristine. It is the result of countless mergers with smaller galaxies. Traces remain streams of stars, like silver threads, unusual orbits, structures astronomers are only beginning to read. Before sleep, the data matter less than the feeling we live inside, a structure formed from many pasts just like ourselves. Some galaxies are nearly invisible. They shine faintly, contain few stars, sometimes little more than cold gas and dark matter. They do not stand out, yet they exist, possess mass and influence surrounding space. This mirrors the quiet parts of the mind, vague memories, unnamed emotions, early formed beliefs. They are not loud, but they shape perception profoundly. On a larger scale, galaxies are not scattered randomly. They connect through long filaments, forming a vast cosmic web threaded through enormous voids. This pattern is not planned, it arises naturally from gravity, acting patiently over time. Jung saw something similar in the collective. Unconscious individuals are not isolated, but linked by shared symbols, archetypes, and deep experience. As listeners lie still and allow the voice to drift through these cosmic cities, a sense of safety emerges. If such an immense universe maintains order, if colossal collisions lead to renewed stability, then personal disruptions need not be solved tonight. They can drift. The unconscious can work quietly as galaxies move through the dark. And in this gentle awareness, sleep is no escape, but a return to a rhythm, slow, vast, and ancient, where the human being is small yet fully held within the quiet city of the universe. If we could shrink our awareness and place it anywhere in the Milky Way, letting imagination drift with the stars, we would notice how slowly everything unfolds. A single galactic rotation takes hundreds of millions of years. What we call collisions last longer than the entirety of human civilization. There is no panic, no urgency, only gradual adjustment, like breath deepening into sleep. Jung believed the mind is governed less by consciousness than by deeper layers where time is not linear. He wrote, "The unconscious is not bound by space and time. Looking at galaxies feels like seeing a physical expression of this truth. Past, present, and future coexist. Light from long-dead stars still travels, still reaches us, still tells its silent story. These cosmic cities have no central authority. Even the supermassive black hole at a galaxy's center does not command actively. It simply exists, allowing stars and gas to adjust around it, passive yet influential. This mirrors how core beliefs operate within the unconscious, silent, unspoken, yet shaping all inner motion. Often the brightest light in a galaxy lies not at its center, but in its spiral arms where new stars form. Steady, patient light. Life emerges not from control, but from balanced movement. In the human mind, creativity and healing arise similarly when we stop forcing and allow natural rhythm. The cosmic web connecting galaxies through invisible filaments offers deep comfort before sleep. Nothing is truly isolated. Even the loneliest galaxy is shaped by the whole. The vast voids are not emptiness, but breathing space. The mind also needs such voids, moments without thought for the nervous system to rest. You need not visualize every astronomical detail. Just as the universe does not need to be fully understood to exist, sleep does not require explanation. Feel that galaxies continue to move, merge, age, and renew, while this body is allowed to pause. And in this gentle contrast between cosmic motion and human stillness, an ancient sense of safety appears. Not because everything is controlled, but because control is no longer needed. The cities of the universe have endured for billions of years without your attention. Now you may allow yourself to let go, let awareness step back. and let sleep arrive naturally, slowly, without effort. Part 7. The invisible forces that shape the universe. Under the night sky, where the eye catches only a few faint points of light, the rest of the universe remains present, quiet, deep, and almost entirely unseen. What we see, stars, nebulae, the faint Milky Way, is only a thin surface of a far greater reality. Most of the universe does not shine, does not reflect light, does not announce itself. Yet these unseen elements form the foundation that holds all structure together. The universe, much like the human mind, is shaped primarily by forces operating beneath the surface of awareness. Science names them dark matter and dark energy, simple labels for mysteries without clear form. Dark matter does not shine, yet its gravity holds galaxies together as they spin at tremendous speeds. Without it, galaxies would have flown apart long ago, but they remain turning slowly, patiently, as if held by an invisible hand. This feels familiar to the human soul. Unseen things support us every day. Early safety, quiet belief, a sense of belonging, invisible yet essential. Carl Jung emphasized that the most important elements of psychic life are not conscious. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Dark matter resembles the collective unconscious, never seen directly yet determining structure, motion, and destiny. Its effect is felt through stability. Then there is dark energy, stranger still, where dark matter holds dark energy, pushes outward. It causes space itself to expand, sending galaxies farther apart at an accelerating pace. Not violently, but gently, persistently. The universe breathes outward, slow, deep, unceasing. In Jungian psychology, this mirrors personal growth, times of grounding and times of expansion. Too much holding suffocates. Too much expansion dissolves. Life exists in balance, and in that balance, deep safety is born. Even light, the symbol of clarity, does not travel straight. In massive regions of space, it bends, curves, follows invisible structure. This bending reveals what cannot be seen. Light becomes a storyteller, hinting at hidden mass, just as dreams and symbols reveal unconscious forces, not directly but meaningfully. Space is not flat or rigid. It is curved, responsive, alive. The universe is a living fabric shaped by what inhabits it. The human mind is the same. Experiences, especially unnamed ones, curve inner space, shaping perception quietly. Before sleep, you need not understand dark matter or dark energy. What matters is the feeling you are supported by forces you do not control. Your body breathes. Your heart beats. The universe moves by unseen rhythms. You do not need to hold anything. As consciousness softens, you may trust that just as galaxies are held by dark matter, you are held by life itself. And as the universe expands, you may allow your mind to expand lighter, wider, drifting away from the weight of the day. Invisible forces are at work. You may rest. Existence does not need noise to matter. Most of what keeps the universe intact does not shine. Like your breath, steady, unconscious, complete. In Jung's depth psychology, the unconscious shares this quality. It does not demand attention, yet it holds life energy and collective memory. Without it, structure collapses. Dark energy teaches a gentle paradox. Expansion is not loss. Distance does not mean emptiness. In inner life, stepping back from roles and pressure creates space to breathe, not disappearance, but relief. Light bends. Minds bend. Sleep does not require a straight path. It curves through memory, sensation, imagery, then arrives. Notice how thoughts come and go like galaxies drifting in the cosmic web. Between them are empty spaces, pure being. In those spaces, rest is deepest. The universe is held by what we cannot see. So are you. You need not understand anything now. Let awareness step back. Your body knows how to sleep. Your brain evolved for rest. The universe continues holding everything in place. Eyelids grow heavy. Breath deepens. Thoughts drift apart like galaxies in expanding space. Invisible forces have taken over the watch, and at last you may rest. Part 8. Time does not flow the same everywhere. Perhaps one of the ideas that exhausts human beings the most, yet also comforts them the most, is time itself. We often live as if time were a straight, uniform, current, non-negotiable, each second identical to the next, each minute gone forever. The clock on the wall, the second hand ticking forward in small steps, gives us the feeling that everything is being measured, hurried, forced to move on. But when we look out into the universe, when we listen closely to what science whispers, we discover a very different truth. Time does not flow the same everywhere. Near objects of great mass, heavy planets, aging stars, regions where space is deeply curved, time moves more slowly. Not because anyone pulls it back, but because the very structure of reality requires it. Near a black hole, where space is bent to its extreme time, nearly comes to a standstill. A single second there can equal years, decades, even centuries elsewhere. This is not metaphor. It is the deep nature of the universe itself. And when we allow this idea to sink in very gently, we begin to feel a strange sense of release. If time has no single rhythm for the entire universe, why do we force ourselves to live by only one pace? Why do we blame ourselves for being slower than others, for needing more time to heal, to understand, to let go? In Carl Jung's psychology, inner time is never linear. A childhood memory can feel more alive than something that happened yesterday. An old wound may still be happening in the unconscious, even though decades have passed on the clock. Jung did not see human beings as creatures existing only in the present moment, but as meeting points, where past, present, and future potential touch simultaneously. Psychological time does not flow. It settles, spirals, and waits to be listened to. Just as in the universe there is no single master clock for the human mind, some people move quickly in the outer world, yet inside them time is frozen at an unhealed moment. Others seem slow on the surface, while inwardly they have traveled very far, very deep. Reality, therefore, depends not only on where you stand in space, but on the movement taking place within you. Before sleep time often begins to feel strange. A long day may shrink into a few blurred images. A small thought may stretch on endlessly. This is not a flaw. It is a sign that consciousness is stepping back, making room for deeper layers, where time is no longer measured by clocks, but by sensation. As you lie still, your body barely moving, your heartbeat slowing, your breath deepening, you are entering a kind of high-mass region of the mind where everything becomes heavier, slower, and safer. There, time naturally slows down. Not because you try to make it so, but because your nervous system knows how to bring you into rest. You do not need to catch up with tomorrow right now. You do not need to resolve the past or prepare for the future. Like light near a black hole, your awareness can curve inward, soften, and pause at a very quiet point. A place with no schedule, no expectations, no waiting clock. The universe is not in a hurry. Time is not pressing you, and you do not need to do anything more. Simply be here in this moment where time has finally slowed enough for you to rest. And when time slows in this way, something very subtle happens. The boundary between being awake and being at rest begins to blur. You no longer feel as though you are doing something. You are simply existing. This is a state both the universe and the mind know well, though in daylight we rarely allow ourselves to enter it. In modern life, we often treat time as something to manage, control, divide. We speak of saving time, wasting time, not having enough time. But the universe has never used such language. Stars do not worry about aging too quickly or too slowly. Planets do not fear being left behind. They move according to the forces acting upon them within a network far larger than any human plan. Carl Jung emphasized that when people try to live against the natural rhythm of the psyche, exhaustion appears as a warning signal. Insomnia, anxiety, the feeling of being pushed forward without air to breathe, all are signs that inner time is being forced to run faster than it can endure. When night falls, and the lights go out, the unconscious finally has a chance to return everything to its proper speed. Sleep, therefore, is not a shutdown, but a resynchronization with true time, a time not measured in seconds, but in cycles of restoration. In deep sleep, the brain no longer follows daytime order. Memories reconnect differently. Unprocessed emotions are placed into a slower, safer current. Just as light changes meaning when it passes through curved space, the meaning of experience shifts when speed changes. You may have felt this before a short but deep sleep that leaves you feeling as though you have traveled far, or a long restless night where each minute seems to drag. This does not reflect your worth, it reflects your psychological position. Near large emotional masses, loss, fear, expectation, time always moves more slowly. The good news is that you do not need to fix this. Just as in the universe, you cannot force time to speed up near a black hole. The only way is to remain still and let the structure adjust itself. And in that stillness, an ancient sense of safety awakens the feeling that you are not being abandoned in the flow of existence. As you lie here listening to these stories of the universe, you are allowing your mind to drift out of personal schedules and into a larger rhythm, one with no too late or too early, only the right moment to rest, the right moment to let go, the right moment to no longer need to understand anything at all. And if right now time feels as though it is dissolving, becoming soft and vague, that is not a loss of control. It is a sign that you are approaching sleep where time is no longer pressure, but a warm blanket laid gently over a tired awareness. You do not need to carry a clock into your dreams. The universe does not demand that you keep up with it. It simply invites you to rest within its deepest rhythm, and there, time at last allows you to be at peace. Part 9. Life may be hiding in unexpected places beneath the quiet night sky. When people often believe that life is fragile, rare, and limited to Earth alone, the universe whispers another possibility, gentler yet far deeper. Life perhaps is not as loud as we imagine. It does not always need to announce itself, flourish brightly, or send clear signals. In the vastness of space, life may be hidden, quietly existing in unexpected places, much like deep emotions within the human mind, which we only touch when everything becomes still. Beneath the thick, icy shells of distant moons such as Europa or Enceladus, science suspects the presence of warm oceans slowly moving below. No direct sunlight, no Earth-like atmosphere, yet heat, liquid, water, and energy, the most basic conditions for life. This image carries a deeply Jungian resonance. Life does not have to exist at the surface of consciousness. It may dwell far below, protected by layers of ice defenses, silence time. And simply because we do not see it does not mean it is not there. In the space between stars, where everything seems utterly empty, scientists have discovered complex organic molecules, the building blocks of life. They form naturally, without guidance, without intention. This brings deep comfort. Life may not be an anomaly, but a natural tendency of the universe itself. Just as in the human psyche, meaning often crystallizes when we stop trying to force it. Jung believed that symbols, dreams, and inner images appear not because we want them to, but because the unconscious needs to speak. If the conditions for life are not limited to Earth, then the idea of home becomes broader. Somewhere in the universe there may be silent homes, no radio signals, no glowing cities, no voices reaching outward. Yet silence does not mean emptiness. In psychoanalysis, silence is often a safe space where the deepest contents can exist. A child needs silence to sleep. A tired soul needs silence to heal. Perhaps another form of life also needs silence to continue. This idea invites you to look inward before sleep. Perhaps within you too there are warm oceans beneath the ice of fatigue, anxiety, and daytime thought. Perhaps the life inside you connection, meaning trust, has not vanished but is simply hidden, waiting for a slower rhythm to be felt again. Jung emphasized that what has not been made conscious does not die. It waits for the right moment to emerge in another form. The universe, capable of holding life in places no one expected, reflects a gentle truth: you do not need to be bright or obvious in order to exist. Like those silent homes among the stars, you may rest in your own quietness. No proof required, no signal needed. Simply being is enough. As you listen in the dark, allow your awareness to soften. There is no need to find answers about life out there. No need to confirm anything. Just feel that life somewhere in the universe and within you continues quietly, persistently. And within that trust, sleep can arrive lightly, like a door softly closing, protecting what lives inside you through the long, quiet night. Perhaps what makes the idea of hidden life so gentle is that it frees us from the pressure to always be visibly alive. In human life, we are often pushed to prove that we are doing well, moving forward, having value. But the universe does not demand this. It allows life to exist in darkness, beneath ice, in silence, in conditions that appear impossible from the outside. And that permission creates a profound sense of safety. Carl Jung said that the human soul does not grow in a straight line, but through cycles of hiding and revealing. There are times when we are like ice-covered moons, cold, closed, outwardly still. Yet beneath, inner life continues quietly. Thoughts are being digested. Emotions are settling. Images are preparing for dreams. Light is not always required for life. The idea of organic molecules forming spontaneously in space deepens this feeling. No one planned for them. No central control guided them. They connect separate and reorganize according to ancient natural laws. Just as in the unconscious mind, dreams and symbols do not need to be created by will. They appear when consciousness steps back, and the moment before sleep is when that stepping back becomes clearest. You no longer need to respond, explain, or hold any role. You are allowed to become a silent home for yourself. No one enters, no one demands. Only you and the ancient biological rhythm guiding you downward. Perhaps out there, in the vast universe, exist countless forms of life, unknown to us, quiet, non-communicative, leaving no obvious trace. Their invisibility does not make them less real. It shows that life does not need to be seen to be valid. And this is a vital message for the human mind. Before sleep, you do not need to be seen in order to rest. The universe's silent homes remind us of safe inner spaces, places we can retreat without disappearing, places where we do not need to explain who we are. Jung believed the deepest healing happens not in bright consciousness, but in the half-light where opposites can coexist without conflict. Life there grows not by speed, but by depth. As you lie here listening, part of you may already be returning to that state, no longer trying to understand, remember, or control. Simply allowing inner life to continue in its own way, like warm oceans beneath ice, like organic molecules drifting among stars, like unnamed possibilities waiting quietly. You do not need to search for signs. If sleep comes, let it come. If not, that is also fine. Life is not in a hurry. The universe does not rush. And you in this moment do not need to do anything other than remain still, allowing the silent homes within you to open and keep you safe through the long night. Part 10. The Universe Light Memory and Sleepers. The journey through space gradually draws to a close. We realize that the universe was never truly distant. It does not exist only out there, among endless darkness and slowly turning galaxies, but very near as well, in memory, in the body, in the breath that grows lighter as night falls. Every point of light in the night sky, no matter how small, carries an ancient story. That light left its source millions, even billions of years ago, crossing expanding space, passing through deep darkness just to touch human eyes for a brief moment. When we look up, we are not seeing the present, we are reading the universe's memory. Carl Jung spoke of images within the collective unconscious that are older than personal memory itself. In a sense, the universe is a kind of unconscious as well, where everything is preserved not in words but in light and motion. When you look at a star, you touch your own past, because your body, your breath was formed from heavy elements created in the violent deaths of stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in every cell, each is a legacy of stars that exploded and faded. We are quite literally made of stardust. This idea is not heavy, but deeply comforting. The death of stars is not meaningless ending, but transformation. From radiant light to cosmic dust, from dust to planets, from planets to life, and finally to human beings who can reflect and dream. Nothing is truly lost, only changed. Jung called this transformation a fundamental principle of the psyche, where the old must dissolve so the new can emerge. And like the universe, the human mind carries many memories of light. Not all need to be recalled clearly. Before sleep, we often try to hold on to the details of the day, unfinished thoughts, unanswered questions, lingering worries. But the universe does not function by remembering everything. It lets light move on. It allows what is no longer needed to fade from view. And in that letting go, a deeper order is preserved. Tonight is the same. You do not need to hold on to every detail of this story. You do not need to remember how far you listened or how much you understood. Sleep asks for no effort, no achievement, only permission. As consciousness steps back, the unconscious, where Jung believed the oldest wisdom resides, takes over. It knows how to arrange, heal, and reconnect the fragments of experience, just as the universe holds galaxies in orbit through invisible forces. The universe remains quietly even when you are not looking. Stars do not extinguish when you close your eyes. Galaxies do not stop turning when you fall asleep. This brings a very primal sense of safety. You do not need to guard the world. You do not need to stay awake for things to continue. A greater order is working on your behalf, both out there and within you. As you close your eyes, imagine returning to your proper place in that flow, not too small, not needing to be large. Simply a natural part of a breathing, changing, resting universe. The memories of light have traveled a long way to reach you, and now you may let them continue on without holding tightly. Sleep in this moment is not disappearance, but gentle dissolving into safe darkness, into the slow rhythm of night, into a universe still whispering ancient stories that are distant and near at once. And in that quiet, when nothing needs to be done or understood, you may allow sleep to arrive soft, as the final light of a distant star touching you and then fading, leaving peace behind. If you listen closely, you may notice that the universe tells its story not through sound, but through patience. Light that takes billions of years to arrive is never in a hurry. It does not fear being forgotten. It does not need to be awaited. It simply travels faithfully following its path. In this is a gentle lesson for the tired human mind, especially one worn down by the fast pace of modern life. Jung believed that one of humanity's deepest sufferings is the feeling of being cut off from a larger order of life. When we forget we are part of a cosmic flow, we begin to believe everything depends on personal effort. If we stop thinking, worrying, controlling, everything will collapse. But the universe does not work that way. It functions even while we sleep. It remembers light even when no one watches. These memories of light resemble memories in the unconscious, not always visible yet always influential. Jung called them archetypal memories, images and feelings belonging to no one person yet carried by everyone. The universe too preserves its history in light, motion and structure, and we, though small, are woven into it. When we consider that our bodies are made from the matter of dead stars, something shifts. Death no longer feels like absolute loss. It becomes necessary transformation. A star ends so a planet can form. A planet stabilizes so life can arise. And life finally so a human can lie here listening, preparing to sleep. No link is wasted. No phase is meaningless. This mirrors psychological life closely. Dark, empty, exhausting periods are not always failures. Often they are pauses, required for new structures to form. Jung believed inner maturity comes not from constant brightness, but from the ability to pass through darkness without losing oneself. Sleep is the safest form of darkness, where we can let go without vanishing. When you close your eyes, you do not leave the world. You withdraw only from its noisy surface. Just as light leaving sight does not cease to exist, the universe continues recording its story in ways consciousness need not track. And so does your unconscious working, arranging, connecting, even when these words fade. You do not need to carry the entire story into sleep. You do not need to remember how far light has traveled or how stars have died. Just know that a deeper order is holding you like space, holding galaxies like night, holding the day that has passed. Within that order, you are allowed to rest. If your thoughts begin to scatter, slow, or dissolve into vague images, that is not distraction. It is a beautiful sign that you are leaving daytime consciousness and entering the borderland of dreams. There, logic is unnecessary. Memory is optional. Only the feeling of safety remains, being allowed to exist without doing anything at all. The universe remains. Light continues to travel, and you in this moment may drift with it very gently into sleep. As this journey through vast space closes, what remains is not numbers, scientific terms, or distant names of stars and galaxies. What remains far more softly is the feeling of being placed within a larger order where nothing rushes, nothing pushes, and nothing asks you to be other than yourself. Throughout this story, the universe has appeared not as cold or distant, but as a patient storyteller, speaking through ancient light, through silence between stars, through slow cycles of birth and death, where every ending is also a beginning. Jung believed the human mind works the same way. What seems to end in daylight consciousness continues in the unconscious, as symbols, dreams, and subtle sensations. Perhaps that is why listening to space before sleep feels less like learning and more like returning to a natural rhythm. By day, we live in measurement, control, reaction. By night, body and soul need a different space, one without proof, effort, or holding on. The universe, vast and calm, becomes the perfect backdrop for letting go. You do not need to remember that time slows near black holes, or that galaxies drift apart. You do not need to hold the idea that you are made of stardust. These thoughts may fade like light dimming as night deepens. What matters is the quiet safety that appears. Everything is fine, even when you are not watching. The world does not collapse when you close your eyes. The universe does not require your wakefulness, and you do not need to try any harder. Jung said sleep and dreams are doorways into the deepest part of the human being, where the ego is no longer central and life is felt as a wider flow. In this moment before sleep, when the line between waking and dreaming softens, you are standing very close to that door. There is no need to push, no need to rush. Simply remain still and let the door open by itself. If today carried fatigue, anxiety, or unfinished thoughts, you do not need to take them with you. Leave them outside like starlight that has finished illuminating the night. Within sleep, your unconscious, older and wiser than you realize, will handle what needs handling. It has done so for countless nights before, and will continue even without your attention. If your eyelids grow heavier, your breath slower and deeper, your thoughts no longer forming complete sentences, this is not failure. It is a gentle sign that you are doing exactly what is needed, resting not as a task, but as a natural state like the universe, allowing darkness to exist beside light. Before we truly close, remember one simple thing: you are not alone in this moment. Out there, the universe is still breathing in its own rhythm. Within you, body and mind are adjusting to that ancient pace. And between these two, there is a quiet meeting place where you may release every role, expectation, and unanswered question. If these stories have given you a little peace, a little ease before sleep, that is why Stories for Sleep exists, to be a safe place you can return to each night, not to learn more, but to rest more. If you wish, you may subscribe to continue these gentle journeys through the mind, the universe, and the quiet spaces between. And now there is nothing more to do. You may leave the screen as it is or turn it off. Let this voice fade into the night. Good night. May your sleep be deep and calm. And if you dream, may your dreams be gentle. drifting softly in vastness, safe and complete.